I just arrived back from my 24-hour trip to Gunung Batu. Mount Batu is the second highest mountain here in Bali, which I climbed just by myself and spent the night up there in almost 2,300 meters of altitude. Just me and my sleeping bag. And then this morning I climbed down and immediately felt a strong urge, inspired by what I experienced, to record this episode. But before, I want to tell you what happened up there on the roof of Bali. Actually, I realized that for the past night I was on the top of Bali. Like, there was no human being on a higher altitude than me, because the highest mountain, the Mount Agung, is not suitable for staying the night up there. And yeah, so I realized, while being in this high altitude, and everything that unfolded for me there, which was quite challenging, quite transformative, and very, very beautiful. During this trip, I realized that I deepened my connection with nature even more. And I want to take this as an invitation to record this podcast episode about our reconnection, our reuniting with nature. That is so, so, so crucial. And yeah, before I share with you what happened over there, um, I want to set a couple of very, very important basics as a common ground. So, what is exactly the nature? What is exactly the earth? Like, everything on this planet falls into one of the four elements. The four elements that build everything that we are able to witness on this beautiful, beautiful planet Earth. The four elements are fire, earth, water, and air. Like, these four elements, when they come together in different forms and shapes, birth everything that we are able to witness. And out of these four elements, you can characterize two of them as possessing more masculine qualities, and two of them of possessing more feminine qualities. While every element, of course, is not one-dimensional, possesses both masculine and feminine qualities, the majority of this energy can be categorized into one of these two. And the fire and the air element are characterized more by masculine qualities, and the earth and the water element more by feminine qualities. And it's like, in the way we speak, we already see that we speak of Mother Earth. Like, the earth has a very strong feminine quality. And that's very important to look through this lens, because it explains a lot what happened through history, and why the majority of the people living on this planet are so disconnected from nature. And this is something that is not by accident. This is something that the dominant forces governing our planet, Aubrey Marcus calls them empire. We could call them the matrix. or the system. And by that, I don't mean like any particular person or any particular, like the politicians or the oil companies or the like the tech industry or the Rockefellers or whatever. No, it's not like one particular camp. It's more the conglomerate of forces on this planet that are striving for maximum individual enrichment and not for the benefit of like the collective of the majority of the people, but to enrich themselves at the expense of all the other human beings on this planet and all other living beings on this planet. And these forces have no interest in us being connected to nature. Quite the opposite. It's not desired. It's not desired because a human being that has a strong connection to the natural environment is much harder to be controlled and to be taken advantage of and to be told lies in order to make him or her follow and be a obedient citizen that doesn't ask any question and just plays a part in the system. So even when we look back into history, like during medieval times, there were so many people that were like literally quite afraid of nature. Nature was perceived as this like uncontrollable, mighty, wild, primal force. And a lot of people were really afraid because they perceive nature almost as a threat, as something that they need to protect against. And the people that were really in tune with nature and even with the gifts of nature, they were a threat to society. You see that in the witch hunts, like women who were really like working with plant medicine or who had a strong connection to 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 like how nature really works. These were perceived as threats to society because they could pull like the rest of the citizens into another world. And like empire was afraid that when this happens they will lose people. Like the church played a big role in that as well, because for the church the the the, the perfect outcome is obedient citizens who pray and who don't look out of the box and who really follow the rules and who are calm, settled uh, citizens who don't ask any questions. And these like witches, they were a threat to society, and that's why they were hunted and they were burned, because they were seen as the bridge to the natural world, to the wild, uncontrollable nature. And there we see that this the separation between human beings and nature really got even stronger. Like, even though it's so crazy because like we are a part of nature, it's so crazy to see a separation. Like nowadays with our knowledge, like it's totally crazy. But like back in the days, couple of centuries ago, like people really saw themselves as above nature, as distinct from nature, and they took advantage of nature. They saw nature as a resource and as a threat, as a resource that they could exploit for their personal gain, and at the same time as a threat that they really needed to protect themselves against. And when we connect this to the four elements, and we are aware that the earth possesses mainly feminine qualities, and we speak about the earth as Mother Earth, then we realize where we completely got like deceived, and where we as a as a society got onto the wrong track, because we literally lost connection to our mother. And we even see this in the way, like, most of the children are birthed. A couple of episodes ago, I talked about what we can learn from children about how life works, and I shared a lot about the birth and the pregnancy of my son. And he was not born in a hospital. He was born in a beautiful, peaceful home birth. And this is something that I desire, like, for every child being birthed into this physical realm. But the majority of children, like myself included, were born in a hospital. And the first thing that happens when this newborn baby arrives, the first thing that happens is it it gets removed from the mother, because it needs to be cleaned and measured and checked and all sorts of things. And there we see, like, immediately when we enter this physical, like, dimension, we are removed from our mothers. And in the episode I shared the story how I was born, not through a natural birth, but through C-section. And this resulted in my mom, like, many months after the birth, not feeling a really strong connection to me, because I was not born in a natural way. And her, like, instinct, her the reaction of her body was like, okay, there's no baby being born in a natural way. Okay, baby must be dead. But then somehow after the um after she become conscious again, she got a baby, and her body was confused. That's my baby, but no, that's not my baby. I did birth any baby, and that's why there was no connection. And the damage this has caused to both mother and child is incomprehensible. Like, imagine, like, this child is like a white piece of paper. It's like 100% open. There are no previous experiences on which it can count or which it can relate to. And then the first experience is disconnection from mother. And I'm a strong proponent of the belief that this is not by accident. Because a human being like my son, that is birthed in a natural way, and through that develops such a strong confidence and trust in himself, in his mother, in life itself, that this is a beautiful place where I'm invited to be myself, and everything around me is supportive of my growth and me thriving. Like, this is the experience that he had, like, in the first minutes and hours and days of his life. And compare that to the experience of a child that is born in a hospital and immediately gets removed from the mother. Like, the first sensations are separation, are like fear. This is something completely different. And the beginning of our life is so crucial for all the other experiences that we will make afterwards, and the beliefs that we will cultivate. And yeah, a child that is born in this artificial setting and doesn't develop this full trust in life and in everything around himself or herself, this is a human being that later is so much more prone to always searching for something, like to refill this hole inside themselves. And they are much more anxious and much more, yeah, searching for like something, for this feeling of wholeness, feeling of, oh, everything is right, because they didn't experience this from the in the start of their lives. And of course, what is the natural reaction that society and all these like dominant forces on our planet, what is the solution that they present us with? Of course, consumption. Hey, maybe this these new beautiful shoes will make you feel good. Oh, when you have the nice flat screen TV, then you will be happy. Oh, let's buy a new car. Maybe this new car will give me this feeling that I'm looking for. And of course, a human being with this like modus operandi is consuming much more, is spending a lot of money. And where does this money flow? Of course, to all the large corporations. And so a human being that is disconnected from mother, from his like physical mother and nature as our like all our mother, this is a person that is easily controlled, that is really easily controlled and easily exploited. And let me take a sip of coconut water. And when we realize that, what is going on there, and we draw the line between our physical mother and mother nature, that the underlying quality is the same. Like our physical mothers, when we arrive on this material plane, they are here to nourish us, to really nourish us, like give us everything we need. And when we go out into nature, nature has such a nourishing quality as well. Like here, being on Bali, like the nourishment I feel when I'm outside, like this is amazing. Like everything is so vibrant, so strong. There are coconuts growing, there are bananas growing, there are papayas growing, there are jackfruits growing behind me. Like nature nourishes. Like nature cares about my physical survival. And nature presents me with these amazing, for example, bananas that nourish me and that that take care of myself and ensure that I'm thriving, that I'm surviving, and that I'm thriving. Like the same role that our physical mothers play after we are born. It's, by the way, no coincidence that coconut water shares a lot of qualities with breast milk. That's why the first thing out of like everything, out of all the options, the first thing that we gave Lionel, the moment he was not like only drinking breast milk, the first thing that we gave to him was coconut water, and he loved it from the first moment on. And like every day we're drinking like fresh coconut water. He loves it so much. I love it so much. And that's no coincidence. Nature has the same nourishing quality as our physical mothers. And there are even like so many people, and I strongly feel that in myself as well. When we didn't have the start into our lives that we needed. And maybe our mothers were not there, could not be there, didn't want to be there, or we had a traumatic birth experience, or our mother died, or whatever. Like, we can sort of reparent ourselves through being in nature, through realizing, wow, we are, and this is another quality of nature, we are unconditionally cared for. Like, nature, you could take the most, like, destructive human being, like the human being that's most destructive to society, like a serial killer, and the serial killer will receive the same unconditional love and care from nature. Like, nature doesn't, like, makes no distinction between the serial killer and the enlightened monk. Both get the same banana. Like, it's unconditional, and this is the same quality as every mother um possesses. Like, it's unconditional love, unconditional caring for. Like, no mother, like, first checks in their baby, okay, are they cute, are they beautiful, da, 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 da. Do they give me enough love? No. Like, breast milk is flowing, and this little precious human being gets cared for. So through realizing that, it becomes so obvious that the connection we have with the natural environment is absolutely crucial for us to develop this strong trust into life. Because when we are cared for unconditionally, like, this changes our whole game. This changes how we perceive life. And the way most people on this planet live, being not in contact with nature and living in these, like, artificial boxes in the 12th floor of some kind of skyscraper, where they maybe have a single plant on their, like a small plant on their table, which is maybe plastic because it's easier to care for, but maybe they have a real plant. And that's the only thing that's, like, really naturally growing. This is a completely different life. And when we live this life that's disconnected from nature in a big city, living in a skyscraper, getting in the car, driving to work, to the co-working space or to your office or whatever, working, then going to the gym in another box, and trying to stay fit, and then consuming food out of a box that we ordered on an app that is far away from natural processed food. Like, when we live this way, only, like, in boxes and disconnected from nature, we cannot develop this full trust into life, because it feels like I need to, because I'm not unconditionally cared for. I need to do something in order for, I need to exercise control in order for life to match with my interests, with my desires. If I want something, then I need to do something, then I need to make something happen. But when we go into nature, we don't need to make anything happen. Like, the the so much wiser and so much more powerful force of nature works just by itself. We don't need to do anything. We don't need to do anything. And this is a completely different game. Like, this instills a completely different belief system into us. Do we perceive life? Do we approach life from the standpoint of, if I want to get something, then I need to make something happen, then I need to exercise control, then I need to exercise force? Or am I approaching life, because I'm living in a very natural environment, am I approaching life from the standpoint of, everything is there. There is abundance. There is abundance. And I'm able to experience this abundance and receive that with gratitude. These are two completely different games. And they dictate how we live our lives, what we value, how we feel, how we think, how we approach each other. Yeah. So that's very important to understand. It's very important to understand that the quality of nature shares so much similarity with the quality of our physical mother. And like on a deeper level, we are all born by nature. We are all coming from nature. So it is our mother. It's like for a reason called Mother Earth. Yeah. I want to share with you what happened during my trip to Mount Batukaru. Last week, I had a chat with a friend, Alit, and he told me he's not living far from there, and he told me about the possibility to go up there and to stay the night on top of the mountain. And I was like, from the minute he told me that, I was intrigued. I was like, okay, wow, wow, this calls me. This calls me. I need to do that. And then very spontaneously, 2 days ago, I was lying in bed in the evening, and I was like, I need to do this tomorrow. I need to do this tomorrow. And then I checked in with him. Hey, what do I need to know? Like, do I need to have a guide? Can I just go there by myself? Like, what is the temperature up there? And we texted back and forth. And he said, nah, don't go there. It could be raining. Maybe it's better to go in a week. And I was like, no, 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 no. I need to go tomorrow. I felt like such a strong calling. Yeah, I created a podcast episode about my surrender experiment. This is like surrender. It comes into my field. You need to do this hike. You need to go to Mount Batukaru. It's done. It's done. Like, I don't need to argue. I don't need to justify anything. It's like, it's done. I need to do this tomorrow. And then he shared with me, like, it's very cold on top. Of course, you need a sleeping bag. Could be around 10 degrees. And I was like, okay, with all my Bali clothes, I'm not well prepared. I have one jacket. I have one one pullover. I have two little bit thicker pants. I have one set of like proper closed shoes. I have, I think, three pairs of socks. Okay, I will take everything that I have, and then I need to get a sleeping bag. And I found a place that rents some camping equipment, and I rented a sleeping bag and I rented a mat. And then I went there. I took my scooter and drove a little bit up the mountain to an altitude of around 1,000 meters. The peak is at 2,276. So in front of myself lie around 1,300 meters of climbing, and around they said 4 to 5 hours trek. And I my sleeping bag with me and my mat and uh, some food, and then I went there. Like, it's not like in Germany when you go hiking and there are like signs everywhere, and it's just like he said, just go there. He sent me the location of the starting point, and he said, like, just up the mountain, you will find it. You will find it, but be careful. But you will find it. And I was like, okay, okay, let's go, let's go. It's a jungle. It's a jungle. I will somehow find my way. And then with all my preparations, I was a little bit late because they said 4 to 5 hours to the peak, and sunset is around 6:15, 6:20, 6:30. And I arrived at the base at 3 p.m. And I was like, okay, okay, sunset will be around 3.5 hours. I need to go. Like, really go. And I was fast. I was very fast. My last hike was quite a while ago, In my childhood, I did a lot of hiking with my family. We hiked the E5, which is a very nice hiking trail from Germany to Italy, and staying at different like huts on the way, and it was a nice experience. But lately, like in the past years, I was not a huge hiker. But I went there like straight through the jungle, go 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 go, and then after 3 hours, I was at the summit. I was like sweating and because I needed to carry a lot of things. It was really really hot, really humid, and but I arrived 6 p.m. Had the most amazing sunset, so beautiful. Wow, wow! Immediately before sunset, I arrived, and then it became dark quickly, and I put on all my clothes, and then I sat down for my evening meditation, and I sat there, and after a couple of minutes, maybe after like 10 minutes or something, 10, 15 minutes, before I had a chat with a couple of locals that stayed overnight as well. Must be around 7 p.m., maybe half an hour after sunset, already pitch black. And I was in my meditation, maybe meditating for 10 minutes, and I was already freezing. I was already freezing, and I realized, fuck, if I continue my meditation, if I sit here for an hour without moving, my feet and my hands will already be so cold, and the night hasn't even started. And in me, there was this feeling arising of, shit, maybe you made a mistake. Maybe you made a mistake. Maybe you're not well prepared. Maybe it will be way colder than you anticipated. And so I stopped my meditation after a couple of minutes, and I was like, okay, I need to move. Like moving is a better strategy than sitting still. And then I had some dinner, um, brought cucumber and asparagus and almonds and pili nuts with me, and I was moving around, dancing around, and snacking on my dinner, and I got warm again. Um, but there was this fear of, oh shit, you are like y- you have like no chance. You are here up the mountain, and you cannot go down. It's 3 hours down through the jungle. There's no light. You can't go back. You are here. You are here trapped on the summit, and you don't know how cold it will get. You don't know whether it will start to rain. You don't know that. You can only surrender. And that was a very powerful experience because I was frightened. I was frightened. Like not even an hour had passed, and I was already feeling cold, and I had already all my clothes on. And I was like, okay, I thought it would be like for the first hours would be super easy because it would be still hot from the day, but no, it wasn't. It was like immediately pitch black and cold, very cold. I arrived like at the summit with just like shorts and a shirt, and I was sweating, 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 and then not even an hour later, I had all my clothes on, and I was already freezing. In this moment, I said to myself, "Okay, Robert, you can only surrender. You can only surrender. There's no way back. You are here. You are here, and this is your invitation to surrender." And if you watch my or listen to my podcast episode about the surrender experiment, or maybe you are familiar with Michael Singer's amazing book, The Surrender Experiment, like then you know that I'm trying to embrace life more and more from the standpoint of no planning, no trying to be in control, no having any agenda, but really taking and experiencing everything that life offers me. There's a fundamental shift that's going on in my life since a couple of months. Fundamental shift. Before, like in my business, like everything, my days, when you look at my Google Calendar from a year or 2 years ago, everything was planned like weeks in advance, different colors, and I was a huge planner, like everything in control. Like every 15-minute block, okay, here I can have a breakfast break. Okay, on Thursday I will have a date with my girlfriend, and everything was planned out. And this is something that I don't do at all. Like my calendar is empty. There's maybe here's one call, and next day there's another call, but everything else, like even like meetings with team, it's something. Sometimes it's spontaneously. Hey, do you have time in the next couple of hours? I'm available. I'm not planning, and I'm just jumping on the opportunities that life gives me. And it was a clear calling. Like my friend told me about hiking to Mount Batukaru and staying the night there, and I was like, strong calling. Okay, I need to do this. And the moment I receive this invitation, I don't know why I received this invitation. I don't know what will emerge for me. It could be that it will be the most challenging thing ever and I will really grow. It could be that I meet an important person that will play a huge part in my life later. It could be that I will have an epiphany while meditating above the clouds. I will have a huge epiphany or whatever. I don't know what is this experience for. Maybe I will just have a pleasant day. Could be simple like that. I don't know what will emerge, but it's not my business. It's not my business to figure out in advance why something is showing up in my life. I'm just there to follow this guidance, to surrender, and then be open and not attached to any particular outcome, knowing that the right thing will emerge. And now I'm up there, up the mountain, completely like helpless. I'm here. Okay, life, you can teach me whatever you want to teach me. I'm here. I surrender. But I was still frightened. But I surrender. I have no other chance than surrender. And in this moment, I really needed to smile because life brought me in a situation where I can't not surrender because I have no other chance. I cannot go back. Like, and I cannot ask the other guys like to give me their clothes because they were freezing as well. Like, okay, I only can surrender. Like that's the only viable option. And the more I'm in resistance, and this is something uh, that came that came up for me, and every time it came up, I relaxed and I released and I let that go. There was this feeling like continuously coming up of, okay, mind tries to take over. Okay, when it will be really cold, what do you need to do? Okay, maybe you can do push-ups. Okay, maybe you can run around. Um, okay, what else can you do? You got your headphones with you. Okay, you can maybe listen to an audiobook that will distract you from the cold. And then okay, it's only 10 hours. You can do that. And that's so interesting. Why are our minds taking over in these situations? Because internally we feel not okay. There's some resistance. There's some fear, some pain, some unfelt emotion. There's somehow like inside ourselves we feel not okay. And then mind takes over. And mind always tries it's beautiful. It's a good attention. Mind always tries to make us feel okay. And that's why talks and talks and talks and talks and creates crazy situation, crazy possible solutions, or maybe one step one step before mind just is in resistance and says like, why did you do this? Why are you here? Like, how can you not be better prepared? Why did you not bring more clothes? Like, why did you do this at all? You could be sitting at home. It could be very comfortable. Uh, and you could be sitting on your sofa and like watch a nice movie. And why are you doing this? Like, this could be one step further. That was not really the case for me. It was already in the solution mode. But every time like mind try to solve something, I always said like, hey, mind, I appreciate your effort, but it's not of use because I don't know what will emerge for me. Maybe it will not be that cold. Maybe it will be way colder. Maybe my phone will die and I cannot listen to audiobooks. Maybe, I don't know, I cannot do push-ups because it's too cold. Whatever, like all the solutions the mind created at 7 p.m. might not be valuable solutions at 9 p.m. or at midnight or at 3 in the night. So I said like, okay, hey, yeah, it's you can think, you can plan, you can make any agendas, but it's not of use. The only sensible thing is to relax and release and to really surrender and to be open for everything that wants to emerge. And then the resistance will go away. And then we are open to have a much more beautiful experience than we would have otherwise. Because if I would have sticked, like guided by my mind in this, okay, only 10 hours, you need to do this, da, 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 and like with clenched teeth, somehow surviving this night, then I will be back at home tomorrow and I will have like a shitty experience. And I will regret that I did that because I suffered. But if I release control, then I might open up myself for the most beautiful experience. But when I'm in resistance, then it won't be beautiful. So there was it was like great invitation for me to surrender. And I already needed to smile like, okay, life, nice job. You put me in a situation where I can only surrender. But there was still this fear, and now let's draw the line to nature. There was still this fear of, or this feeling of, I'm so small. Like I'm so small. I'm standing on the top of the second highest mountain in Bali, which is almost 2,300 meters high, with all the natural forces around me. There could be a crazy storm coming. It could rain. It is cold. Like the natural forces around me were so strong. You could even hear the wind. It was like all the time. And I felt so small. And in this moment, uh, I needed to remember a podcast episode I listened to a couple of years ago, an Aubrey Marcus podcast with Boyd Vardy. Boyd Vardy is a lion tracker. He lives in South Africa, and he shares his experiences with these wild animals and this wild nature. And there was a night where he didn't sleep at his like house, but he had a small hut like in nature upstairs, so that there like no animals could get him, like almost like a tree house, and he was sleeping there. And there was this crazy thunderstorm, and it was so loud. It was something that he never experienced before in his life, and he was really afraid that he will die, that he will not survive this night, because the natural forces were so strong and so frightening that he was like, okay, 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 I surrender. I have no other chance. I'm so small compared to these natural forces. I can just surrender. And then the night passed and he survived. And it was a very, very important spiritual experience for him. And it enriched us, it enriched him tremendously. And this is what I find so beautiful about nature. When we really give in and we really let nature embrace us, we can only surrender because we cannot control. Like it's it's ludicrous to think I'm there on top of the mountain and through my thoughts, maybe somehow I will find a way that it's not that cold and that it won't rain and da 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 da. No, I cannot control. I can just give up. I can just give up. So for me, over the past months, immersing myself more and more into nature almost demanded of me to surrender, because I cannot continue to live from this like artificial perspective. Like back in the days when we lived in Berlin, nice apartment, like concrete box next to other concrete box. It was a beautiful concrete box, but it was still a concrete box. When we live like lives that are disconnected from nature, it's very easy to stick to this control based, like fear. Underneath there's a fear, and then the reaction to that is trying to be in control. Like this approach to life, it's really easy to uphold it when we are living like this. But this is not how life works. This is not how we get to experience the miracles that life can offer us. But when we are in the treehouse in South Africa, in the thunderstorm, or on top of Mount Batukaru, freezing, we can only give in and let life teach us the greatest lessons that we need to experience in this present moment. Yeah. Yeah. And surrender to this fear of nature really swallowing us fully, and we will just like drown in the tremendous forces of nature. And to do that is so liberating. Is so liberating. And then, yeah, the stage is set for beautiful experiences that we cannot control, that we cannot plan. And this is how the night emerged for me. I got up from my meditation, uh, and I had my dinner, and I was just munching on my food and dancing around, and I got really warm. My feet stopped to be cold, and then I had finished my dinner, and then I felt a strong calling to continue dancing, and then I took my headphones, and um, I have a Spotify playlist that I started in 2014. I think it's already 9 years ago. 9 years ago, and every time I'm coming across a song that I really like, I put it in there. Over 500 songs, like every like the whole agenda, from piano music to hip hop uh, to some kind of like spiritual ceremony songs, and like everything in between. And then I just put this playlist on shuffle, and somehow magically, like one song after the other, I just needed to smile, because everyone was like such a nice beat and really strong and really uplifting, and I was just smiling and dancing on top of this mountain. Everything was dark. The other guys were already in their tent, and I was just there. I maybe 2 hours, 2 hours of dancing, and like exactly each song hit perfect. And I got super warm, and I was feeling like the king of the earth. I'm standing here on top of the highest mountain. I'm dancing. I'm having such a great time, and I don't feel any cold. And I'm enjoying my life tremendously. Tremendously. Yeah. Yeah. And this is not something that can occur when we are approaching life from this mind-centered, I need to figure everything out, I need to control da 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 da. Like over the past weeks and months, so many incredible coincidences happened in my life that nobody was able to plan in advance. Like that I visited my friend, and he told me about the opportunity to go to Mount Batukaru, and the Spotify playlist exactly gave me the right songs to really push my energy level, or that I found this beautiful nature home. It found me. I didn't find it. Like, I didn't say like, okay, then I want to do this, and exactly it turned out completely perfect. It was just getting built. It was just getting built, and I said to the owner, hey, I want to rent this for a longer time. And I was able to choose everything inside. Like he asked me, how do you want the pathway from the from the door to the house, and do you need a sofa, and which size, and what about the wardrobe, and how should we do the kitchen, and what is important for you? And felt like I it felt like building my own house without any of the responsibilities. I could just like wish everything, and he did it. And it's completely perfect. And this is something that I could not have planned. It's not possible. It's not possible. I just surrendered, and it found me in the most beautiful way. And this is connecting again to nature. This is how nature works. This is how the universe works. When you go out into nature, there is no central authority dictating how everything works. When I was hiking up the mountain, and today when I was hiking down, so in so many moments, I just stopped, just witnessed the beauty around me with all the different sizes and shapes of trees, and really large one, and then really small mushrooms and leaves and everything in between, and butterflies and birds. And this is just a miracle. There is no central authority that planned all of this. It just emerged. It just emerged naturally. So we can learn from nature how life really works. We can learn from nature how life really works. Approaching life from the standpoint of, okay, I'm gonna manifest my dream life. Like this whole notion that is really popular in our personal development, spirituality context. This whole notion of, I'm gonna manifest my dream life. I'm gonna set my goals. I'm gonna, like, at full moon, I'm gonna meditate and write in my journal, what do I want to manifest in the next 4 weeks? In my opinion, this is all bullshit. Because this is still control-based thinking. This is still approaching life from the standpoint of, I know what is good for me, and I'm saying by which date what should emerge in my life. And like, I'm saying, yeah, nice try, but this is not how life works. Maybe the thing that you desire most, maybe the 5-figure month in your business, or the partner of your dreams, or finally you finding your dream house, or whatever. Maybe this is not what you need right now. This is the same like a mushroom, a small tiny mushroom sitting there with his journal at full moon, like manifesting, okay, one day, okay, let me be specific, because this is what I learned in this online course. Okay, by April 3rd, I want to have grown to the size of this bamboo. Writing it down, and then every day reading it again and manifesting. And this is total garbage. This is total garbage. Like, the task of this mushroom is something completely different. He will never be a bamboo. He will never be a bamboo. And maybe you manifesting your successful 5-figure business, maybe you're not here to be an entrepreneur. Maybe you're not here to, like, earn money with what you are doing right now. Maybe what you really need is the realization that you should be something completely, you should be doing something completely different. Maybe you are here to be an artist and paint pictures. And maybe this life tries to get you on your true path, but you are still trying to be in control and manifesting your coaching business with a 5-figure month. And but life is saying, no, give up. Let me do my magic. Let me do my magic. I'm so much wiser. I'm so much smarter. I'm so much more intelligent than you. And I will align everything in perfect order. But therefore, you need to give up control. And then you can get on the path that you really belong to. And this is the core principle of Taoism philosophy that I was really studying intensely over the last time. And the core essence is this principle of Wu Wei. Wu Wei means non-doing. And non-doing doesn't mean that I just sit here and I don't move. Non-doing or non-action means I don't force anything. I don't try to make anything happen, but instead I will let the beautiful orchestra of life itself be in control, be in charge, and then I will see where I might be heading. Yeah. Letting things just be. Because that's when we go out into nature. And then I was hiking up the mountain, and then I saw one tree, like a large tree that maybe through some like wind, or maybe it was just too old and it broke or whatever, but this large tree was like was like was like over the path, and I needed to climb around, and there's this large tree. And the forest around Mount Batukaru, this is not managed by human beings, fortunately. I hope it will stay this way. This is just jungle. It's just primeval forest. And there's no human being. Like, human beings carved this little path, but the only thing that they did is maybe remove some kind of plant so that you are able to hike through all the routes on the floor. It's not a proper hiking trail, so it's really wild, but you are able to see where you need to go. This is everything that human beings did, and the rest is like completely wild, completely less. Nature is in charge. And then there is this huge tree, and we as human beings could come to the conclusion, oh, we need to like get rid of this, because this tree this is not living anymore, and we need to But no, nature takes care of everything. Like, this fallen tree over some time will rot and will serve as food for other organisms. There was already moss on it, there were already like different kinds of mushrooms on it, different insects, and like, nature is such a perfect organism where everything is happening in a cycle. There is no waste. Like, this concept of waste is something that we as human beings created. In nature, there is no waste, because this fallen tree or this dead animal like serves as food for some other species, and the like other species enjoying their food at the same time lead to this animal, this dead tree being uh, being now I'm missing the words. This like this tree serves as food, and through it serving as food, it like the forest gets rid of it. And it's not like in our human world, either something is valuable, then it's food, or it's waste, and then we put it in the trash can, and then it will land on some kind of landfill. But it cannot be both. And this is something that we as humans invented. And this is so like nonsense. When we look out into nature, there is no waste. There is no waste. And nature takes care of everything perfectly. Without this central authority, without this central like CEO of the forest that makes the master plan, no. The infinite intelligence of the system takes care of itself. And when we as human beings could approach life more from this standpoint of letting life, because nature is life, letting life orchestrate itself, and not not making things worse through our interventions. Because when like a well-meaning human being like hiking this trail sees this dead tree and thinks like, oh, I need to get rid of this because it's dead, and then he would remove this tree out of the forest, he would actually steal the food for these other organisms, and he would bring the forest into disbalance. And that's a disservice for the forest. But from our human point of view, oh, something is waste and we need to get rid of the waste. No, 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 no. We are not here to intervene. We are not here to intervene in nature, and we are not here to intervene in life. And that's a big one. That's a big one because we as human beings always want to intervene. We always want to do something because we always think that we know it better. But nature is so complex. Nature is so complex. We cannot even fathom to understand how all that works. And the same is true for life. The same is true for life. Who am I to judge what should happen during my Mount Batukaru adventure? Maybe it will be the most challenging thing ever, and I will almost freeze to death. And out of that will emerge some deeper meaning, some deeper relation, some deeper epiphany for me. Maybe I will meet an important person. Maybe I will just have a nice hiking adventure. And I will do something good for my body. I don't know what this experience is for, but the only thing that I know is that life presented me with this invitation, with this calling, and I'm following it, and then I'm I'm not attached to the reason why I should be doing that. And this is how we are invited to approach life. When we could approach every relationship, when we get to know a new person, that would be big. When we could approach a new relationship from the standpoint of, hey, you are coming into my life. That's beautiful. Thank you. Let me experience what wants to emerge for me during our relationship. Maybe I need to learn this. Maybe I need to learn this. Maybe I need to move to another place. Maybe I need to look at this part of myself that I didn't look at. Whatever. When we could see everything happening in our lives as beneficial for us, for our growth, then it would be much easier to just surrender and say like, okay, there's this new relationship. There's this situation on top of Mount Batukaru. There is this a crash in my business. There is this like disease in my body, whatever. I don't know what is that for. I don't know. I will surrender and I will let life orchestrate itself. And then afterwards I will realize what it was for. And I said thank you, no matter what it was. No matter if I have the most beautiful experience on top of Mount Batukaru or a really, 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 really hard experience, I will say thank you because it was there to teach me something. And it was exactly the right thing, and only this could happen. And like, when it would be a really hard experience and would be very cold and very rainy, and next day, like, if I would regret that I did that, then I would completely ruin everything. I would completely ruin everything. When we are in a relationship and this relationship turns out as or our partner that we are with turns out as very abusive and very like just exploiting us, and then we say, okay, this was a mistake and we regret that, then we are ruining the whole experience. Like when our spouse says, I want to get divorced. This is like a once or maybe twice in a lifetime experience. Use it well. Use it to purify you. Let go of your personal self. Let go of, oh no, this is the worst thing that ever happened to me. This is the situation. Like your wife or your husband says, I want to get divorced. And then the only sensible thing to do is surrender. And surrender doesn't mean, okay, we get divorced. Surrender means that this is happening right now is completely perfect because it invites me to look at something inside myself. And I can let go of my judgment. I can let go of my personal self. I can let go of this feeling of, oh shit, when she will get divorced, maybe I will be alone, maybe I won't find another partner, da 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 da. This is not useful in this situation at all. Like this is our invitation to let go of that. And then when we are okay, It's completely perfect that my partner is asking me for a divorce. When I arrive at this standpoint, then I can actually serve the situation at hand. And I can really ask, oh wow, tell me, why do you feel like this? Is there maybe something that you desire that is not present right now? Let's go to a marriage counselor. Yeah, let's talk about that, whatever. And maybe this will lead to us getting divorced. Maybe this will lead to us not getting divorced. But I'm so much more capable of serving the situation at hand when I let go of my personal agenda. So I can only have a great experience on top of Mount Batukaru when I surrender. I can only have a great experience in my relationship when I surrender. I can only have a great experience in my business when I surrender. When I see every client that no longer wants to work with me as something that's really, really bad, and I punish myself for that, why I again lost another client or didn't close the next one, or my Instagram post didn't went viral or whatever. When I approach life from this standpoint, I suffer so much. I suffer so much. But when I'm on top of Mount Batukaru and surrender, and then it will get cold, I can I can I can freeze, but I don't need to suffer. I can realize, wow, this is very cold, and my body is tingling, and my body is hurting, but I don't need to suffer. I only suffer when I'm in resistance with the experience that is unfolding right now. But this is not beneficial for anybody. And I know this is something that's very hard in theory. And that's why it's so important to connect to nature, because nature presents us always with situations to surrender, with situations to let go of. When we are planting our own garden, we have the agenda that there should be the cucumbers and there should be these and there should be that, and they should all like perfectly grow. But nature has their own agenda, and there will be some like wild dandelion next to our cucumbers, and we are like, all these weeds again, we need to get rid of the weeds. But maybe nature's showing us, hey, there should be some dandelion, because dandelion is very good for your green smoothie. It has so much more nutrients than the cucumber you planted. Hey, I'm offering you something that you didn't think of. But we can only see that when we surrender, when we don't judge the dandelion. This doesn't mean that we need to let the dandelion be there. We can still like see it as weed and get rid of it. This is what I wanted to illustrate with the divorce example. It doesn't mean that we like give up everything and just follow and have no like free will. But that comes second. Like first comes surrender, no judgment. Interesting. This is how it's right now. Like the full like giving in. Okay, this is how the situation is right now. Yeah. Hmm. And then life becomes very rich. Life becomes very, very rich. So yeah, I had an amazing night. And at the same, I was dancing and I was feeling a lot of joy. And then I got tired and I went into my sleeping bag, and it was very cold, and because it was so cold that I couldn't sleep. And I was lying there for 2 hours. And so I started to listen to a podcast, but I couldn't sleep. It was very, very, very cold. And this was the next situation where I could be in resistance to reality and say like, oh man, you need to have gotten a better sleeping bag that's more for colder temperatures, da da da. But no, I was like, okay, I'm so cold, I cannot sleep right now. It is how it is. Okay, what now? Good. Then I get up and move around and listen to my podcast, and it was nice. And then I spent 1.5 hours listening to podcasts, and then it was like 2 in the night. And then I said like, okay, now I'm warm because I moved so much. Let's try again. And then I rolled rolled into my sleeping bag and I slept for 2 hours. I was very uncomfortable because it was just on the concrete floor with a tiny yoga mat underneath. It was very, very uncomfortable. And I woke up and I was not feeling well. But again, this is how it is. Okay, I slept for 2 hours. Good. If I haven't slept the whole night at all, it would be fine as well. Like I noticed, and I noticed from my past when I went to school, there was so many, like every night I was checking the alarm and was like, okay, I need to get up at 6:30. It's already midnight. Oh, I have only 6.5 hours. Then I was laying in bed and I couldn't fall asleep immediately. And then checked the alarm and it was like, oh, I now have only 4 hours, 45 minutes. I was in such resistance. And of course, in this state, you cannot fall asleep. And then you beat yourself up and in the morning you are very tired. But when you actually accept that, when you surrender, okay, it's so cold, I cannot sleep right now. And then I get up. The situation doesn't get better if I'm in resistance to life, to what is happening there. And then yeah, I've slept for 2 hours and my morning meditation during sunrise, I fell asleep again. So I think I slept for 2.5 hours and I have so much energy. I feel very good because I'm not in resistance to me having slept only 2.5 hours and thinking, okay, things will be bad, da 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 da. And we can all learn this from nature, from our like direct experience in nature. Like when this huge tree falls down, nature doesn't say, "Oh no, it should have stood there for 10 more years because this is how long these trees usually live." No, it fell down. Okay, let's work with that. Okay, then it can be food for all these other species. If it wouldn't fell down and was still standing there, then these species would have eaten something else, or there will be like a tinier population of these insects that usually eat trees. When there are not so many trees, then there is a tinier population of these insects, and everything is in perfect equilibrium all the time. And this is what is available for us as human beings as well. But what we need to do is get rid of our agenda, get rid of I want this or I don't want that. When I'm still playing the game of I want this, still clinging to something or resisting something, I don't want that, then yeah, then we are fucked. And our life is, this is what Buddha teaches, all of life is suffering. But all of life is only suffering when we have personal agendas. When we think the experience on top of Mount Patukaru should be something pleasant, should be something relaxing, should be not cold. When I when I when I approach the situation from the standpoint of it should not be cold, it should be comfortable, then I've already lost. Because when it gets cold, when it gets cold, then I'm gonna feel bad. But when I embrace that and when I surrender and say like, okay, maybe it will be warm, and this is good, and maybe it will be cold, and this is good as well. But there's no other option. I cannot go down. I cannot simply like get a magic fairy and get a warmer sleeping bag. No, no, I cannot. Yeah. Of course, for the next time I have some experience and be like, okay, maybe I will get a warmer sleeping bag and maybe an extra set of like clothes. I can know this for the next situation. But for the current situation at hand, like the chips are like it's already it's already gone. Like the situation is how the situation is. Yeah. Surrender to life. Surrender to life. And then we realize, and then I want to draw the line to what I said in the beginning of this episode. And this is so beautiful. Like in nature, there is no waste. Nature is completely abundance. And that's why exactly the right things are happening at exactly the right time. And when we morph into that and we become a part of this like surrendering to this natural ecosystem, then we realize we always get the right things at exactly the right time. And the experience that I will have on top of Mount Batukaru will be exactly perfect for what I need right now. Maybe I need a relaxing experience, and I will have a relaxing experience. Maybe I will need I will need a like strong, pushing, freezing experience, and I will get this experience. We will always get the right experience. We will always get dealt, like from the dealer, the right cards that we need in this situation. Because all of life is an invitation to discover more of ourselves. All of life is an invitation to grow. Yeah. And this is full abundance. We always get exactly what we need right now. We always get the abusive relationship when we need to discover something about ourselves. And this is abundance, even though maybe it doesn't feel like this. The forest could the forest could blame nature as well. Oh, this tree now it fell down. Oh, that we need more insects and and I thought the tree would live for 10 more years. Of course, the forest could blame could blame nature that something unexpected happened, but no, it's in full acceptance, and this is abundance. And the tree which fell down is exactly as amazing as the tree that didn't fall down. And when we embrace this for our lives and realize that the experience on top of Mount Batukaru that is really relaxing and really chilled is equally good as the experience where we freeze, or the nice, beautiful, peaceful relationship is exactly as good and valuable as the relationship that is maybe uh, unsatisfying or abusive or whatever. And that we exactly get the right relationship and exactly the right time in order to learn and grow. And we get exactly the right experience on top of Mount Patukaru. We get exactly the right experience in our business, and so on and so on and so on. Because in nature, it always gets into perfect equilibrium. Like this is the like we see that we just need to we just need to be in nature, and then we realize that everything is striving for wholeness. Everything is striving for wholeness. When there is a tree that fell down, like there will be the insects, and there will be the moss, and there will be the mushrooms. Yeah. Nature always strives for wholeness. You see that on the street when there is a street built next to a really strong tree, then this street, like this asphalt, is put on top of the roots of the tree. But this is not good for the tree. The roots need more space when the tree is growing, and then the roots will open the asphalt. And this is like you see that sometimes. Like when they're really strong roots, they can even get rid of the asphalt. So this force of nature, even a river, when there's a strong river and then humans build a dam because they because they believe, which is like ludicrous, because they believe the river needs to flow somewhere else. It needs so much effort to control this river. It needs so much effort. It needs like full-time employees, like working all the time, repairing the dam and checking on it and so on and so on. When you would leave it just by itself, it won't be long and the dam is gone and the river is flowing where the river should flow. Who are we as human beings to judge where this river should flow? This river is flowing exactly at the right place. And then we are invited to build our habitat, our dwellings, like according to the flow of the river, and not say we built a city here and this river needs to go somewhere else. That's bullshit. But it's exactly it's exactly the same attitude that we are approaching life with. It's trying to control nature, but nature cannot be controlled. Nature cannot be controlled. And we see that in so many instances. Like even what we are experiencing with climate change. Like we as human beings try to control nature so much, but nature ultimately is not is not is not cannot be controlled. Like with the melting of the polar ice and tsunamis and typhoons and sandstorms and everything. Like nature nature is way more powerful than we are. And yeah, it's a fact that over the past 50, 60 years, we we as human beings caused 70% of the species of mammals and insects and so on to go extinct. Yes, of course, we are quite powerful to control. We are capable of building building a crazy dam like the Hoover Dam that is controlling the Colorado River But there will be a moment when we cannot control it anymore. And maybe this will lead to us going extinct. Who knows? Maybe we as human beings realize first that we are invited to surrender to nature and give up this attitude of control. Who knows that? And this shows us like nature doesn't need to be rescued. We don't need to care for nature. We don't need to save nature. Like so many activists nowadays, when they see what's going on this planet, feel so sad or feel so like responsible for nature, and they think, okay, we need to do something. But this is human beings approaching nature with their agenda as well. Of course, it has a more pure intention compared to, okay, let's just cut the rainforest and sell all the wood. The intention of let's save the rainforest and plant trees is maybe a more noble one, but it's still an intervention into nature. Nature grows trees by itself. Maybe that will take a lot of time. And I don't mean, I don't want to say like that we shouldn't plant trees. I don't want to say that. But nature doesn't need us. Nature doesn't need us because nature is the strongest force on this planet Earth. And even if we like covered all the earth with asphalt and streets and shopping centers and high-rise buildings and everything, nature will come from the ground, and then the roots will crack up the asphalt. And there are some nice videos on YouTube that simulate when human beings would go extinct, how long it will take for which like infrastructure that we build to completely be gone and nature be reigning again. Yeah, it doesn't take that long. It doesn't. So we don't need to rescue this planet. Out of our self-interest it would be a good idea to observe nature, to learn from nature, and to surrender to nature. Then nature is thriving and we as human beings are thriving. Yeah. It's not that hard. We just need to fundamentally shift how we approach life, which is for most people hard. And for me, it's hard sometimes as well. When I'm sitting there on top of Mount Batucado after an hour and it's very cold, of course it's hard to surrender. But I always remind myself, like sitting there and having a bad time is the worst. Then I already lost. But surrender and say, like, give me the experience that I need right now is a much more productive approach. So yeah, I was dancing a lot, listening to great music, listening to a couple of podcasts, slept for 2.5 hours, had some dates in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. while the other guys were sleeping in the tent. I was walking up and down and listening to a podcast and munching on dates. And it was nice. Like of course it requires to let go of my agenda. Okay, yeah, it's in the middle of the night, but yeah, okay. And I eat dates at 2 a.m. Oh, what's the big deal? And then I got up to this morning and it didn't rain. And I experienced the most beautiful sunrise. Clear sky, clear blue sky, and the sun like slowly but steadily coming through the clouds, and wow, it was beautiful. But if it would have been rainy, or I wouldn't have a great sunrise because everything is cloudy, then this is what should have happened. Like, who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? Yeah. And then I had some oranges for breakfast, and then I hiked down, and it was overall a beautiful experience. It was very exhausting when I arrived at the base camp. My legs were like shivering, and oof, it was intense. It was really intense. I still felt exhausted afterwards, but when I get home, I had some green juice and now I'm ready to record this podcast and I'm full of energy. And the reason why I'm full of energy is not I've only slept for 2.5 hours. I was sometimes freezing in the night, and so on and so on. The reason why I have so much energy is because I'm not in resistance, because I let life happen through me, and then life is easy. Okay, yeah, it was very exhausting, and it was very exhausting for my legs, and there were moments where I was really cold, and so on and so on. But I accepted that. I was the tree that fell down, and I was like, okay, my time is over. Okay. But if the tree would be in resistance and say like, no, I wanted to live like for 10 more years, then yeah, you wouldn't have helped the natural ecosystem. But ultimately, underneath all of that, underneath all this trying to be in control, is a fear of death. Like this is why we are human beings are approaching life and approaching nature with this control-based attitude, because we fear death. But death is earth as well. If we could develop a different relationship with death, we will develop a different relationship with life. I know that's not easy, but for Boyd Vardy, the lion tracker, spending the night in his treehouse during the thunderstorm, and him coming to perfect acceptance, okay, if life wants it that this is my last day in this physical incarnation, and I will die this night because there will be some thunderstorm like killing me. If this should be the case, okay. When we can come to this realization, life gets so much richer. Because we don't, ultimately, this is like the last thing that we cling to. We cling to life itself. We say like, okay, if we die at 39 in some thunderstorm on top of a treehouse, then this is really bad. But of course, when we are living our lives, not from this standpoint, when we are living our lives from this control-based standpoint, and we see all these things that we didn't achieve yet, and all these things that we wanted to do, and so on and so on, of course, then death is the ultimate failure. Death is the ultimate catastrophe, because we didn't earn yet the promotion in our job, and we didn't marry yet, and we didn't have children yet, and so on and so on. But if we let life experience, if we just experience life and let life happen through us, and know that exactly the right things will happen exactly the right moment, and that at 39 it was not the right time yet to have children, and that's perfectly fine, then there's no resistance, and then there's ultimately no resistance to death. And when there's no resistance to death, life gets so much more intense, because we live every day fully, because we have nothing to fear, because we have really nothing to fear. When we can let go of this fear of death, then things get pretty chilled. And then we don't need to overreact because of some person on social media blaming us, or our partner uh, breaking up with us, or whatever. Because ultimately, all the things we are afraid of, ultimately, when we think them through, are a fear of death. Because we think, okay, these people on social media talking badly about me will mean that my reputation is completely gone. I won't be able to earn any money, and I will starve on the street, and I will lose my home, and then I will die. This is like what is happening internally with our relationship as well. Okay, when our partner leaves us, maybe maybe that means that we are like shit, and because we are shit, we won't meet another person, and then we will stay single for the rest of our lives, and then someday we will die miserably, and nobody will care for us, or we will have an accident and nobody will be there, and then we will be dead. Like, all of our fears are ultimately a fear of death. And if we can release that, and I don't say that this is easy. I don't say that this is easy. But this is a constant journey. And this is living life like in the spiritual realm, and seeing everything that manifests in our physical lives as an invitation to grow spiritually, and to release control, and to let go of resistance and let go of anything that we cling to, let go of any desire, let go of any agenda, and just say, oh, this is the image that is getting rendered from source in this present moment. Interesting. Thank you. Thank you that I'm able to experience that. And yeah, this is how nature works. The tree falls down. Okay. The tree lives. Okay. It's raining. Okay. It's not raining. Okay. The sun is shining. Okay. The sun is not shining. Okay. This is how nature works. Because there's no central authority that says this is the plan. And when there is no central authority that has a plan that needs to get executed, and instead nature is in permanent surrender all the time, then everything that happens is perfect. And this is why nature is so productive. Like, look, go into a forest. Go into a forest and see how productive that is. Like all the different species, they are all thriving. Like the butterflies are thriving, and the rabbits are flying, and the oak tree is thriving, and the little dandelion is thriving, and the mushroom is thriving, and the moss is thriving, and the eagle on top of the sky is in the sky is thriving. Everything is thriving. There's no resistance. It's just like life unfolding. And we as human beings are the only species that are separated ourselves from this Garden of Eden. And the way back into the garden is observing nature and approaching life from the same perspective. And this begins with spending more time in nature. And then it becomes automatic. And it becomes automatic after a while. And when we spend more time in nature, when we spend more time with our mother, of course, we realize pretty soon, oh, maybe the things that I'm going after in life, maybe this doesn't resonate with me. Like, imagine spending 4 hours every day outside, going for a walk, like sitting in a forest, growing your own food, swimming in a river, just like 4 hours, like 1/6 of our day. If we would do this every day for 4 hours, can you see like that over like I think more sooner than later, this desire to get the new like shoes of this trendy designer brand, or get the new watch, or buy the new TV, that this desire will gradually decrease until it won't be there anymore, because we realize how artificial that is. And of course, let's define that. Like everything that is taking place on our, let me just check if the recording is fine. Yes. Everything that's taking place on our planet is natural, because everything emerged out of nature. There is nothing that's on our planet that got brought from a different planet. Everything is natural. Even like my phone is natural, because it got built out of various like rare earth minerals. There's silicon in it and lithium, and these are things that are coming out of the ground. So even the phone is natural. But of course, it's more processed. Even like you can draw the analogy to food. I can harvest the papaya, that's natural, and the 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 crazy like yum yum noodles that so many of the locals are eating in the plastic box with artificial flavors and a lot of salt and a lot of sugar and a lot of like preservatives and so on and so on. This is natural as well, because everything that is in there resulted out of nature. Like the sugar cane grew somewhere, and then it got processed, and then it's like refined sugar, and then it went in there. But it's much more processed. Like it's if we would create a spectrum from like maximum natural without a lot of post-production, post-processing, and the other side of the spectrum is like, I would call it artificial, but even though there is nothing artificial, it's only like less less pure, less we could say less natural, but yeah, let's stick with the terms natural and artificial, but knowing that everything is natural. But of course, like the papaya, we should realize easily that the papaya should be uh, sh- should be preferred over the yum yum noodles, or the wooden spoon is a technology that is much more natural than the iPhone. Um, but yeah, that's very important. That when I'm speaking of something artificial, of course, it resulted out of this natural word as well. But technologies, food, whatever, the more natural they are, the less processed they are, I believe the more valuable they are to our thriving. Of course, you can do much more things with the iPhone than with the wooden spoon. But the question is the iPhone or the wooden spoon more beneficial to our real, like, physical, emotional, spiritual, mental well-being? And as I talked about in the last episode, you could argue that the wooden spoon, as simple as a technology it is more beneficial to our real well-being, because the sophisticated tool the iPhone comes with a lot of downsides. Yeah. And when we look at it through this lens, of course, the fancy designer shoes are natural as well. But the more time we spend in the, like, real natural world, aka in the forest, in the jungle, like, the more we realize that the super processed designer shoes are so far away from, like, the pure expression of nature, and we don't prefer them. We prefer a forest walk with our child, or with our loved one, or with our parents, and a nice deep conversation, a warm hug, just the feeling of, like, what I experienced this morning, the first rays of sunlight. I was feeling like $1,000,000 sitting there, very cold, and then seeing the sun slowly rising on top of this tree that was blocking the sun rays, and then the first sun rays that came over the tree directly in my face, and it was warm. I was like, oh, this is life. This is life. Better than every, like, sauna, or, like, solarium, or like central heating, whatever. This pure sunlight. Oh, wow. Wow. So yeah, this is my invitation for you. Spend more time with your mother. Spend more time in nature, and you, like, all things will fall into place. All things will fall into place. Because over time it gets much more easy to embrace living life in alignment with these natural principles, and letting go of these things that are not serving us anymore. Aligning how we nourish our body. We talked in one of the previous episodes about food. Very important topic. Very important topic. Of course, I only eat these yum yum noodles 3 times a day when I'm living in the concrete box. When I'm in the forest and there's, like, wild apple tree next to me growing, and I can smell, like, here, the jackfruit. I have a jackfruit tree next door, and the smell of the ripe jackfruit, you cannot pass this tree when there's a ripe jackfruit. It's like mesmerizing. Wow, okay, I need to get this jackfruit, like, over anything else that's possible. And yeah, the more we spend time in these natural settings, the more our nutrition will align. The more our relationship will align. The more our business will align. The more our health will align. Yeah, it's about the reuniting with Mother Earth. And then we realize things will get pretty simple. and things will get pretty easy, and things will get pretty abundant. Not in the way that we thought of abundance before, of having this huge passive income coming in every month in our PayPal account. You realize, okay, this is not what we really need. But growing our own garden with our own apple tree or our own jackfruit tree, this is pure abundance. And I don't need to do anything. Just like the sunlight and the rain and the nutrients from the soil gift me with these ripe apples or these ripe jackfruits like every year, year in and year out. And I just need to harvest. This is pure abundance. This is pure passive income. Something completely different than hustling on your business for 5 years in order to someday get to the point where you can have a little bit of passive income, and then the industry changes or COVID hits or whatever, and then your nice passive income plan is gone and you need to hustle again. Like nature is pure passive income. But the more time we spend in nature, the less desire we have for passive income, because we actually realize I want to be of service. I want to be of use. I want to do things with my body because my body is strong. My body is vital. I want to put it to good use. I don't want to live just like, okay, I just chill on the sofa and watch Netflix. No, when I'm in nature, I get inspired. I get inspired by all the vibrancy that's surrounding me. That's my invitation for you. Spend and I know maybe this requires a drastic change how you live your life right now. Spend 4, 5, 6, 8, 12, 16 hours a day outside. Really like outside, really like in nature. And of course, it's something different being in a jungle than being on a like artificially like some park. But the park is better than nothing. Go to the park if there's a park around you. And start to walk barefoot. I have one set of shoes for hiking Mount Batucado, but I never use them, and I have one set of flip-flops, and I rarely use them. Like 80% of the time, I'm just barefoot. I do some errands. I ride the scooter barefoot. I like walk the streets barefoot. I go to the river barefoot. I'm at home barefoot. Like when we are barefoot, this is grounding. This is connecting to Mother Nature. Clothes are the same. And that's why I like to live in the tropics, because we can be naked. Before I recorded this video, I was naked. And after I will be recording this video, I will be naked again. Why? Because when I'm naked, like the connection to the natural environment around me is so much stronger. Like sleeping naked. Yeah. Allowing your feet to be naked and walk. And maybe in the beginning it's a comfort zone challenge, but when you're walking the street, even though maybe you don't live in Bali, maybe you live in Austria, or you live in New Zealand, or you live in Canada, walk barefoot as well. I know a lot of people, like even when it's like pretty cold, even when it's like in autumn or even in winter, they are walking barefoot. And it's amazing. It's amazing for their groundedness, for their connection with earth. Yeah. Hmm. All right, let's wrap that up. Cheers with my coconut water breast milk. Ah, I enjoyed today's episode. Such an important topic. I really enjoyed my trip to Mount Batucado. Yeah, let's go out more. Let's have more adventure. Adventures in nature are a completely different kind of adventures than adventures you watch on Netflix. Other people that they don't really even have themselves, but they are actors who are paid for you to believe that they are having adventures, but actually they are just doing their job and earning money, and you get passive entertainment, which is not really entertaining. Yeah, it's a broken system. Real adventure, real love, real connection, real abundance only happens in nature. And of course, we as human beings are part of nature. But like we talked about the spectrum of being like maximum natural on one side and very artificial on the other side. Check in, where are you right now with your life? Are you living a more artificial life, or are you living a more natural life? And then move towards this natural end of the spectrum. And yes, I know this requires questioning every area of our lives. This requires questioning where we live, how we consume, how we eat, how we live our relationship, how we earn our money, how we raise our children. This requires shift on every level, but it begins with connecting to mama, and then everything will fall into place. All right. If you feel a desire to get more impulses from me, I'm incredibly on fire right now. I can share so much. I'm flowing over with inspiration. Then join our private Telegram channel that I just created. There I will send slaps from my heart and from my mind, in a more uh, frequent rhythm than these like long form podcasts, and we can actually connect with each other. I feel a strong desire to really connect with the people that are benefiting from what I'm putting out there. We can have conversations in Telegram. Um, I have a I have I have a strong desire to maybe host Zoom calls now and then, really talk about these topics, open spaces for Q&A, and not have only this like one-sided um, communication. I'm enjoying like sitting in my garden, drinking my coconut water, and enjoying what is happening inside myself, and what is going through my heart and my mind and my soul. I really enjoy that, but I'm looking forward to connect more with the people that are diving into the same waters that I'm diving right now. Yes. So join the Telegram channel. It's happening in the sacred economics. That means you can contribute whatever you feel called to contribute. There is no fixed price every month, but you can actually choose. That's very important for me, to invite you to really, yeah, regarding your financial situation and the value that you're receiving, to really make this decision on your own, what you want to contribute. And I can only say I appreciate every person in it like so much. I appreciate uh, every every euro that I'm earning with that. I appreciate that so much, and it enables me to continue this work and to put out even more and continue to spread my personal truth. And if it's if it resonates with you and it inspires truth inside yourself, then that makes me happy. Yeah. Thank you for the time we spent together. See you, and uh, talk to you in the next episode. But first, talk to you on Telegram. Looking forward to meet there. Cheers from Bali. Um, cheers from Mama. Cheers from Mother Nature. Bye bye.